In this video, we're going to go over symbolizations for the predicate logic assignment number 4. Now, I'm about to post these solutions, but first I'll go over the answers. I did this with one of the drop-in sessions, but I'll do it again here so everyone can take a look at it. I'm noticing a number of mistakes with these, and I'll try to comment on that as I go along here. First of all, most of the people got numbers 1, 2, and 3 correct. They're almost like propositional logic or statement logic symbolizations. Emily secretly loves Tom is a statement. Even though is just the connective and Tom is Margot's husband is another statement. If it were statement logic, the thing just has the form A and B, right? It's just the conjunction of two statements. But here we have to use the predicate expressions that were given up here on top. E is Emily, T is Tom, and M is Margot. So we want to say Emily secretly loves Tom. So we use the S. Remember, SXY means X secretly loves Tom. So if we want to say Emily secretly loves Tom, you can just put the E in the X place and the T in the Y place, and that shows you where they go in this symbolic expression. They would be like that, S-E-T. So we're going to take S-E-T and replace E by X by E and T by Tom. We write S-E-T. Emily secretly loves Tom, even though, and that's just the and, Tom is Margot's husband. So HXY means H is the husband of Y. So husband of Tom, Margot. Tom is the husband of Margot. The next one, James is devious. So dx means x is devious. J stands for James. So James is devious. Deviousness applies to James. And is just the ampersand. Lucinda knows the truth about him. KXY means X knows the truth about Y, right? KXY means X knows the truth about Y. So we want to say Lucinda knows the truth about him. There's the pronoun him. It refers to James. So we're talking about James. So K, Lucinda knows the truth about J, James. Susan knows the truth about Emily. So we just did one of those. KXY means X knows the truth about Y. So K, Susan, S, knows the truth about Emily, E. But is just the and. And then we need parentheses because we have another conjunction. It's not the case that Susan is brave and Emily is devious. Deviousness applies to Emily. Okay, so these are solutions. Now let's look at if anyone knows the truth about Lucinda, it's Emily. For some reason, a number of people just wrote this. They wrote K-E-L. Emily knows the truth about Lucinda. But they forgot about the if anyone. So what we want is if anyone knows the truth about Lucinda, it's Emily. So that whole business, if anyone knows the truth about Emily, that's giving you the antecedent. Right? The thing looks like this. If anyone knows the truth about Lucinda, then Emily knows the truth about Lucinda. So we've got a situation where in place of the then, there should be an arrow. So let's put the arrow in. So if anyone means if there is someone who. So that's going to look like this. If there exists an X, KXL, if there is an X, if there is someone, that's how you say if anyone. If anyone means the same as if someone. If there is someone that knows the truth about Lucinda, then that's Emily who does. Nobody who loathes someone with a burning passion also secretly loves that person. This actually has the form no A or B. Right. It's saying for any X, if blah 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 about X, then not something 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 about X. It's kind of saying something like that. It has that vague form of no A or B. here, nobody who loathes someone with a burning passion secretly loves that person. But here you have two variables. So let's do it one step at a time in kind of Loglish to full symbolization. What the English says in the first step towards symbols is, for any x and any y, if x loathes y with a burning passion, then it's not the case that x secretly loves y. For any x and for any y, if x loathes y with a burning passion, then it's not the case that x secretly loves y. Putting in the predicate symbols, if L, x, y, if x loathes y with a burning passion, that's what L, x, y means, then it's not the case that secretly loves x, y. Right? Because if you go back to the interpretation, LXY means x loathes y with a burning passion. SXY means x secretly loves y. So for any x and any y, if LXY, then not SXY. This business here, we'll just put in parentheses, change the then to an arrow, just like we would in statement logic. Put in the parentheses. And now the for any x and any y. For any x is just the upside down a for all x. And for any y, you have to put in a quantifier for that variable as well. If you have two variables, x and y, you have two quantifiers. One quantifier for x and one quantifier for y. Another way you could have done this, there is another way you could have symbolized it. You could have done it this way. You could have said it's not the case that there is not an x and a y such that LXY and SXY. Right? These two expressions actually mean the same thing. For all x and for all y, if LXY, then not SXY means the same as it's not the case that there is an x and there is a y, such that LXY and SXY. Notice that when I read this expression on the left, and when I read this expression on the right, listen to what I say. For all x and for all y, I actually say the word and there, but there's not an and. It would be incorrect to put an ampersand there. That wouldn't make any sense. You can say for all x, for all y. You can just say that without saying the word and. But one of the ways we express this quantification, this multiple quantification, is sometimes when expressing it verbally, you'll put the and in. For all x and for all y, but you don't put an ampersand. The ampersand is going to go only when you're connecting two statements or formulas together. Okay. Some people who loathe someone with a burning passion secretly love that person. Okay. Look at this says, number 5 says, nobody who loathes someone with a burning passion also secretly loves that person. That's what this here says. This says it's not the case that someone loathes someone with a burning passion but secretly loves them. So how do you say some people who loathe someone with a burning passion do secretly love them? It's easy. You just take off that negation. This says there are at least two people, x and y, where x loathes y with a burning passion, but x secretly loves y also. Just take off that negation from number 5. Or looking at it conversely, if you started with number 6, there's someone who loves someone else, there's someone who loathes someone with a burning passion but secretly loves that person. Then how do you say number 5? You'd say, well, just put a negation in front of it. And that's how you would say it. Number 7, anyone who loathes someone with a burning passion is jealous of that person. So, for all x and all y, or for all x and y, sometimes we say say things this way when we're talking about quantifiers, and you'll see the and as I was talking about up here, but the and isn't really part of the quantification. Sometimes in math they'll write it this way: for all x, comma, y, if LXY, then JXY, right? When I say they'll do it this way in math they won't talk about loathing people and jealousy, but they'll talk about quantification. For all x, comma, y. But again, whenever you have a quantifier, a variable, pardon me, you need a quantifier for that variable. For all x, for all y, for all x, for all y, if x loathes y with a burning passion, then x is jealous of that person. So you need, with multiple variables, you need multiple quantifiers. And then finally, this last problem is probably the most complicated of the whole thing. I don't know if anyone got this one completely right. But I think one person might have. Let's write it in Loglish. For any x, y, if they know the truth about each other, if kxy and kyx, then not jxy and not jyx. And with the neither nor, there's a couple ways to do that. So for any x and for any y, so let's put in our quantifiers. For any x, for any y, I'm going to use brackets here to make it easier to see what's going on. If kxy ampersand, so and kyx, if x and y know the truth about each other, then is just going to be the arrow symbol. Then neither one is jealous of the other. Then j is not jealous, then x is not jealous of y, and y is not jealous of x. And this last part right here, because it says neither nor, that last part could have been written as a disjunction with a negation out in front. You could have written, for that last part, put the negation on the outside, and made the and into an or. So the part highlighted on the right and the part that I've highlighted here on the left, those two are equivalent to each other. Either one of those could go in that place. Okay, so look over these answers carefully. I will post this as a separate document. And also you have this video, so compare those to what you've written, and if you have questions, then contact me or contact Rebecca.